As the year comes to an end, we're getting a better idea of what the strongest contenders are going to be going into the award season. It's pretty clear at this point that Sinners and One Battle After Another are going to duke it out for Best Picture. And while it's unlikely to win, Chloe Zhao's Hamnet has emerged as a strong contender for at least the runner-up position. It seems like a foregone conclusion that lead actress Jessie Buckley will probably walk away with the Oscar, and Paul Mescal will likely get a nomination. Now, I love a good tearjerker. If you can rip my heart apart like the Iron Claw, great. So when I heard the synopsis for Hamnet and the talent involved, I was pretty excited. Part fiction, part speculative, Hamnet is based on the 2022 novel of the same name. It stars Paul Mescal as William Shakespeare and his wife Agnus, played by Jessie Buckley, as they come to terms with a devastating tragedy that takes the life of their son Hamnet. The film lets you know pretty early on that the words Hamlet and Hamnet were pretty interchangeable names at the time, letting you know where this story is going as we see how the loss of William Shakespeare's son ends up inspiring his legendary play. But is the movie about this, or is it about something else? Honestly, I couldn't tell you what this movie is really about. What Chloe Zhao has delivered here is a pretty confusing mess of a movie with some glimmering spots, especially in the technical department. This movie right here does one of the most frustrating things any movie can do. What the movie says it's about isn't really what it's about. In fact, the events described in the synopsis don't really occur until about the 60% mark. To make matters even more frustrating, Hamnet himself isn't really introduced until halfway throughout the movie. Instead, we spend the first hour of the movie just following the relationship between Agnus and William, who isn't really named by a name until much later on in the film's runtime. Throughout the first hour of the movie, we get to see Buckley and Mescal put some pretty astounding work down on the screen. Specifically Jessie, who, look, I've heard a lot of people describe her performance here as over the top, but what are we really saying here? Should a character never shout, never cry? Buckley crafts a genuinely three-dimensional character, puts her on screen, and invites us all to experience her emotions with her. All the way from the joy she experiences falling in love, all the way to the painstaking pregnancy she goes through. Paul Mescal feels less like William Shakespeare and more like another sad boy Paul Mescal character, but hey, it works. And there's not exactly any archival footage of William Shakespeare out there, so who am I to say he doesn't fit the role? And while it's great to see these two talented actors fall in love on screen to the backdrop of some beautiful music and brilliant cinematography infused with so much natural lighting, it does leave the second half of the movie in an awkward place, as the second half of Hamnet essentially tries to play catch up with itself. Since we've spent an hour watching these two characters develop their relationship with each other, we don't get much time to sit with any of the other emotions for the rest of the film. Hamnet is born, and within the next 20 minutes tragedy has to strike, and we barely get to sit with him and see how much his parents even love him. So when tragedy does strike and these two tragically lose their son, I really didn't feel much. Yes, their parents, obviously I objectively know they love their child, but it's not enough to know the parents love their child, I have to feel it. Unfortunately, I don't, and that goes for just about every other emotional beat here. Just as we rush through Hamnet's relationship with his parents, we also rush through the fallout of the grief. We hear a bit about how the loss is tearing the couple apart, but again, we barely get to see it. The movie informs you about how the loss of his son influenced William Shakespeare's iconic play Hamlet, but again, how much do we really get to sit with that? So much of the movie is spent on that initial relationship between Agnus and William, and the second half devolves into a hodgepodge of different ideas that it barely gives itself any room to explore. Is the movie about how different people deal with grief? Is it about how grief can be channeled into healing art? The truth is, it's about many things without really getting to be about any of them. Instead, it takes a window shopper approach to all of these themes, sampling all of them like you're in an open buffet, but barely giving you anything to sink your teeth into. This movie's been getting a lot of critical praise across the board, and I suspect a lot of that has to do with the final 15 minutes, which, make no mistake, is truly some of the most riveting filmmaking you'll see all year. As Agnus attends the opening night of her husband's play Hamlet, we get to see a brilliant audio-visual display of how the grief that William Shakespeare channeled into his play ends up manifesting itself in a therapeutic experience for not just Agnus, but everyone else at the screening. Filmmaking is, above all, a visual experience. And if that scene is proof of anything, it's that despite not doing a lot of groundwork to get us to emotionally invest here, this final scene truly is a transcendent emotional experience through audio-visual mastery alone. Unfortunately, an exceptional ending scene is not enough to make for an exceptional film. We're in that theater for 2 hours, not 2 minutes, and I couldn't help but feel frustrated at what this movie could have been versus what it ended up being. Take any thread from this movie, whether it's the healing power of art or the insurmountable odds that come with losing a child, and there you go, you have an interesting movie. But what Chloe Zhao failed to do is commit. So what we end up with is a cinematic experience with the vastness of the ocean and the depth of a puddle. And for that, I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly movie and TV reviews. And if you've had the chance to watch Hamnet, let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. I am Cinemike, and I'll see you next time.